Goodbye YouTube, how's it going everybody? I have for y'all today a pretty fun OU battle that I had the other day on Skype, which is shocking, I know right? Me playing OU. Luckily though, it is Wi-Fi, just because I was taking challenges the other day on Skype, and I was actually looking for OU battles, and this was against somebody called William. Now, he didn't tell me what his YouTube channel was, so yeah man, whenever you see this, just leave a comment down below and I'll leave your channel link down in the description. Now, as you can see from my team, it's really offensively based. Reason being is that I wanted to use Custop Lead Skarmory, which obviously works best on offensive teams. Then I threw in Choice Band Tyranitar, Rock Polish, Sheer Force Landorus, Protect 3 attacks Gengar, which is actually really fun and interesting to use, although I might change it up to Sub Disable or Sub Split. Next I have Standard Swords Dance, Technician Breloom, and Scarf Keldeo. Now looking at threats on my opponent's side of the field, his whole team except for Celebi and Tyranitar are threats. So yeah, Kieran Black, Keldeo, Terrakion, and Shield Force Landorus are the four main things I have to watch out for. Luckily though, he doesn't have a Rapid Spinner, which means if I can get on my hazards, I can wear them down every time they switch in, which will be able to help me out. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to decide to lead off with my Skarmory, considering the fact that he obviously doesn't have a Rapid Spinner, and hoping that he doesn't lead off with Kieran Black, and he actually leads off with Terrakion. Now normally, Lead Terrakion tend to have Taunt, so I decided to make a very risky play and go for the Stealth Rocks, predicting him to go for his own Stealth Rocks, which is luckily what happens, either that or maybe he doesn't carry Taunt. So this turn, predicting him to go for the Taunt, I'm going to go for the Brave Bird, as he actually ends up switching directly into his Kieran Black. And with Kieran Black having the Terravolt ability, obviously he can neglect my Sturdy, which means if I did go for a layer of Spikes, he then would be able to still outspeed me and knock me out with the Hidden Power Fire. But I actually end up getting a crit. Then above that, it turns out that he actually ends up miss-saving his Kieran Black with the Hidden Power Dark as opposed to the Hidden Power Fire, allowing me to get up one layer of Spikes before he knocks me out. But he actually ends up making another prediction by going for the Earth Power, predicting me to bring in my Tyranitar, expecting me to maybe want to keep my Skarmory for later on in the battle. But after I get up rocks and a layer of Spikes with Skarmory, it just really isn't too useful to me. Then he actually switches directly on out into his Keldeo, which I found to be a bit odd just because he still would have been able to knock me out. But I'm actually able to get up all three layers of Spikes and my Stealth Rocks as he knocks me out with the Hydro Pump. I don't know if this Keldeo is Scarf, Specs, or Expert Belted, and the only thing on my team that appreciates taking one possible Expert Belted hit is going to be my Breloom. So on the off chance that I do live, I decide to go straight for the Spore, as he actually ends up making a good play by foddering off his Kieran Black, which also tells me that Keldeo is either Scarfed or Specs. So this turn he's going to be able to get Switch Initiative, as he brings in the Celebi. Now I am Jolly, so I should be able to outspeed him, but he's actually faster than me. And then I went to check my Breloom. It turns out that I miss-sav Breloom, and it's actually Adamant and not Jolly, which is why his Celebi outsped me. As he Thunder Waves me, I don't get paralyzed, allowing me to put him to sleep. Now yes, Celebi does have the natural cure ability, but as I said, I thought I was faster than him, and after putting Celebi to sleep, I could then switch into my Gengar. But yeah, I'm paralyzed now, which might come to bite me in the ass later on in the battle. So predicting him to just want to stay in, trying to wake up, I get a free switch into my Gengar, and I really have no reason not to Shadow Ball. Like, even if he brings in Tyranitar and it does turn out to be Scarfed, as I said, Tyranitar is honestly not a problem whatsoever, because if he does go for the Pursuit or Crunch, that just gives me a free switch into my Landorus to allow me to go for a Rock Polish. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball as he does make the safe switch into Tyranitar. It turns out that I'm actually going to be faster than him because I do outspeed him obviously, and it doesn't turn out that he's Scarfed. But I miss my Focus Blast, which means the main thing that I had for Celebi is now gone, which means the next best thing I have for Celebi is my Tyranitar, which means Celebi has just become somewhat of a problem. As this turn I bring in my Breloom. In hindsight, I should have brought in Landers, but I really didn't want to risk the fact that maybe he could have the Ice Beam, so I thought Breloom would be the better play in the long run. But looking back at it, I guess it kind of was, but I don't know, I still feel like I should have brought in Landers and Rock Polished. But yeah, he makes a safe switch back out into the Celebi, and I really wanted to go for the Spore, but I end up going for the Mach Punch like an idiot. And at the amount of HP Celebi is at, he can live another one, and I know he's just going to want to go for the Recover. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just bring in my Tyranitar and Pursuit Trap him, hoping that he doesn't have the Baton Pass, which nowadays most Celebis actually don't tend to carry, at least from the battles I've seen, although a lot of you might disagree by that. But yeah, I'm just going to go for the Safe Pursuit as he actually stays in, automatically telling me, alright, he doesn't have Baton Pass. But with me being paralyzed, this means he can now recover stall. So he's going to go for the Giga Drain, and he gets a crit. Now, as you're going to see, judging from this damage, I actually would have been able to knock him out if he had not got the crit. But yeah, now he's going to be that guy who decides to stay in and is going to try to recover up until the point where I do get paralyzed. But I'm hoping that maybe I can crit him before I do get paralyzed. And on the second recover, he's actually just going to go for the Giga Drain the next turn, obviously not wanting to risk me possibly critting him. And from the looks of it, I was not going to get paralyzed anytime soon because my Tyranitar is well trained. Now, at the amount of HP that he's at, even though he is specially defensive, I'm really positive that a Hydro Pump coming from a Keldeo will knock him out. So I go for it, but that is... I fucking hate Celebi. That is literally 1%. That had to be like 5 HP or something. And then he paralyzes me with the Thunder Wave. He does die off the sand, so that's good. But he's going to bring in his own Keldeo, which the way he brought it in automatically tells me, alright, he's going to go for Hidden Power Electric, which means I can then bring in Landorus, but on the off chance that he's Expert Belted, then that'll be really bad for me. But he missed-sabbed his Keldeo with Hidden Power Dark. Now, as I said, the only way this mid-sab would even matter is if he is Expert Belted. But I'm going to make a very risky play, and I'm going to bring in my Landorus, banking on the fact that he is just Choice Scarf, because nothing else in his team seemed to be Choice Scarf. So he's going to go for another Hidden Power Dark, which is doing a decent bit of damage to my Landorus. But judging from that damage, even if he does get a crit, it's not going to be able to knock me out, and I can still be able to go for this free Rock Polish as he goes for a second Hidden Power Dark. It turns out that he's not Expert Belted. I get up the Rock Polish, and at this point, it's basically good game, because even if he brings in Landorus, switches out, baits me to go for the Hidden Power Ice, it's really not going to matter, just because the following turn I can go for a Focus Blast and then still knock out Landorus. So I knock out his Landorus, the Hidden Power Ice, and at this point with his Terrakion and Tyranitar being his last Pokemon, sorry, I will be able to easily knock those two out with Earth Power, and that's going to be the victory in my favor. So yeah, my opponent did make some mishaps, but in the end, I still felt this was a really fun battle. Not gonna lie, maybe not the best battle ever, but if you guys did enjoy, please feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to more content, and hopefully I can get some better OU battles in the future for y'all. And with that, I am out of here. You guys should just be happy that I managed to get a Wi-Fi battle. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, later everybody.